This coming bank holiday weekend will provide joy for some of the West's football fans and potential heartbreak for others. Three of our sides, Yeovil, Swindon and Cheltenham, have made the end-of-season playoffs. Here's Matthew Pick.
Well, this was Hewish Park this morning as Yeovil fans queued for tickets. Not bad for a team that many thought would be fighting relegation. Now it's Sheffield United over two legs on Friday and bank holiday Monday.
I think a draw away and win it home.
2-0 up there, 2-0 down here.
Well, I would like to think we can get a draw away and beat them down here, but as long as we get to Wembley, get some money in, it'd be brilliant to go up, but see how it goes.
Well, Yeovil could end up playing Swindon at Wembley next month. Town finished with a defeat at relegated Scunthorpe and now face a Brentford side who only just missed out on automatic promotion.
Now we can sit down and try and get the work done, try and get 2 or 3 players back to give us a chance to, have a bit bigger squad for the 2 games that are coming up very quickly on Saturday and Monday.
Swindon Town have sold out their entire allocation for the second leg of their semi-final playoff at Brentford. Hundreds of fans queued up early this morning to snap up the tickets for the match on Bank Holiday Monday. Many had waited in line for hours at the county ground, but some weren't overly confident their team will make it to Wembley.
It's difficult to say at the minute. I wouldn't say we're playing particularly well, but it's over 2 legs, it's 2 games, you never know, so fingers crossed.
It's not going to be easy, but we can still do it, and I'll be very pleased if we get to Wembley, and third time lucky, hopefully we'll win this time.
Well, I'm hoping that we get a result here in the first leg and then got something to defend for the second leg, but our form since Paolo's gone hasn't been that good, to be honest.
Swindon play the first leg at home on Saturday, and you can listen to full commentary of both matches on BBC Wiltshire. Now, there are going to be some very tense football fans across the West this weekend. Tonight, the promotion playoffs begin. In League One, Gary Johnson will take his Yeovil side to Sheffield United tomorrow night for the first leg of their semi-final, and the return game is at home on Monday. And on Saturday, Kevin McDonald's Swindon are at home to Brentford. They then face a trip to West London, also on Monday, as they go in search of their second successive promotion. And tonight, in League Two, Swindon Town are in action. They're away to Northampton before welcoming them back to Whaddon Road this Sunday. Cheltenham hope that this year it'll be second time lucky after losing at Wembley in the final last season.
The sunshine is making it great weather for our cricketers, but the football season is also far from over. And by Monday evening, we could have 3 sides preparing to head to Wembley.
So what are the chances of Yeovil, Swindon and Cheltenham all making it through? Here's Matthew Pick.
Well, it's sure to be a weekend of highs and lows of both drama and excitement. There'll be tears of joy and no doubt cries of despair. Well, Jeff Twentyman is with me. Jeff, let's start with Yeovil. They play Sheffield United in League One. They play their first leg tonight. Yeovil certainly have the form going into this one, but what's the key area for you?
They've got to be strong defensively. They've got to be really strong against a Sheffield side in front of 20,000 people at Bramhall Lane. Dan Byrne, Byron Webster, Jamie McAllister, those guys have been missing recently. They need to be fit and good to go, and that'll give them a real base to build from.
Now, as a former defender, of course you're going to say that, aren't you? But what about this man, the man, Paddy Madden, 22 goals this season? He's the match winner, isn't he, surely?
He is. No, I wouldn't disagree. He's the talisman as well, really. A great signing, picked in the League One Team of the Year by his peers in the PFA, the League One players. Defend well, he'll score goals. But an interesting approach from Gary Johnson. The pressure in his eyes is on Sheffield.
So I think there'll be 2 cracking games, but the pressure, as I keep saying, as I keep putting in, is on them. It's on them because we know they're desperate to get promoted, and we've got to be aware of that.
Well, that was Yeovil. Let's move on now to Cheltenham Town. They had their first leg tie at Northampton last night. Sadly, going down by 1-0. They've got it all to do now in the second leg on Sunday.
Disappointed with the way we played, of course we are. We know we need to be a lot better. But they're decent at home. They're really decent at home, really strong. They were excellent. They were miles better than us tonight. But we got some. Well, we feel like we've almost got something out of the game because it could have been a couple more, perhaps.
Now, Jeff, Cheltenham had plenty of missed chances last night as well. Going into that second leg, is it now about the mental strength for them?
Yeah, it is. Exactly. Mind over matter. But it's a two-legged tie, remember, and as long as you don't get too detached from the first leg, you've got a real chance of turning it round, and that's what they've got at Wharton Road.
OK, finally then, let's move on to Swindon Town. They played Brentford, 6th v 3rd in the final league table. Now, Swindon, 4 defeats in the last 6 games. That doesn't sound promising.
But 2 wins out of the last 3 does, so whichever stat you want to look at, really, isn't it? But they've got to have their good players, their top players playing well. James Collins is a goal scorer. He's got to perform. And at the other end, I like Wes Foderingham, really good goalkeeper. If those kind of players perform at the top of their game, they've got a chance.
So then, of our 3 sides, who's going to make it to Wembley for you?
I think Yeovil will. I think Cheltenham might. My biggest concern is Swindon, because they've got key players missing, and Brentford are a decent side. So that's my big concern, whether Swindon will. I hope I'm wrong.
I hope you are. Thanks very much, Jeff. And of course, our colleagues in BBC Local Radio will be bringing you commentary of all those big games right across the bank holiday weekend.
Well, meanwhile, Swindon Town's hopes of reaching a Wembley playoff final are still alive, despite last night's 1-1 draw with Brentford. Town led through Massimo Luongo's 70th minute goal, but then they conceded a penalty with seconds remaining in their League One semi-final first leg tie. The teams meet again tomorrow for a place in the final.
Now, it was looking good for Swindon in their home leg.
Yeah, Luongo, great bit of skill. Douglas, the midfielder, comes out to close him down and just guides it round him into the bottom corner. Great bit of class.
2 talking points coming up in the penalty area.
Yeah, great header down. And as you see here, O'Connor, the defender, reaches out and it just slightly touches his arm as Rooney comes in for the volley. There we go, the slightest of touches, and the referee didn't see it and they got away with that.
And so at the other end...
Yeah, Brentford, right in the 93rd minute. We know what they like, having penalties in the last minute. From hero to villain again, Luongo brings down Forrester and up steps O'Connor. Cool as you like, bottom corner, maybe. If he'd have taken it last week, they wouldn't be in this situation now.
Yes, what might have been. Here's confirmation of where the games stand. The second and deciding legs are tomorrow. Martin, have Swindon surrendered a little bit of momentum there? Brentford finishing strongly?
Yeah, I think they're just there, but I think it's going to be a tight game down at Griffin Park, but I think that Brentford got the slight advantage by getting that late penalty.
I know we all saw what happened at Griffin Park the last time. Was there a scene of devastation for them?
Tell me about it.
Yeah, is there going to be a kind of hangover from that? What kind of a stadium is it like to play at?
It's very tight. The fans do get on your back. I got my most abuse at Griffin Park, and the changing rooms are about 8 foot by 4 foot. It's very tight. It's old school, and Swindon won't relish going there. But once the game starts, I think last week's all forgotten. You know, the Doncaster game, and it's anybody's. You know, I fancy Swindon in the playoffs, but once again, toss of a coin.
Martin, Kevin McDonald's come into this job. It's been a heck of a season at Swindon. Paolo Di Canio was there before. I guess we'll learn a little bit about him as a manager over these games, won't we? And potentially a final, of course.
Yeah, he's a total different manager to Di Canio. He's a lot cooler in the technical area. That's quite easy to be a lot cooler than Paolo Di Canio, but he is a different type. And he's had to show his true colours and his credentials over this game and maybe the final as well.
You must demand what we're going to see from Alan McCormack coming up here. This is from the first leg. We're going to just highlight him in a second. This was a chance that was coming up for Brentford. There he is. Now watch it as play unfolds. This is just tremendous, isn't it, if you're a manager?
Oh, this is excellent. I had Alan on loan at Orient when he was a young lad, but that is one piece of great defending.
It's great commitment, isn't it? He's travelled, what, 40 yards to go and help his defence out, showing his face how much it meant to him in the playoffs. You know, everything's riding on it.
Timing's right.
Now, we've already had the first tussles of the playoffs in Leagues 1 and 2. Earlier today, Brentford had to dust themselves down after failing to finish in the top 2 by getting their noses in front against Swindon.
Adeyemi. Now Luongo. Rooney, lovely control here. Now Ferry. Promising here for Swindon. It's Ferry now for Luongo. Luongo shot! Oh, yes! Massimo Luongo with his first goal for Swindon Town. Rooney for Ferry, for Luongo. Picks his spot, finds his spot. Advantage, Swindon Town. One last beast chance perhaps here. Shaley and Logan for Brentford. It's a super run here. Now Tom Adeyemi. One more pass onto Sam Saunders. In goes the cross. Oh, it's going to drop here now to Douglas. And Forrester's gone down here. Penalty. Oh, Luongo, who scored the goal, has made the foul. to hand Brentford a first leg lifeline. It's a penalty all day long in any language, that, isn't it? O'Connor for salvation in the first leg from the spots. The bees and penalties again. O'Connor! If only done that a week earlier. Kevin O'Connor, a late penalty. This week owns a draw. Last week would have been promotion. Oh, now though, here's Andy Williams. Oh, what a chance. He claims the foul himself. He's onside, there's no question about that, and the finish just lacking, just wanting.
I had practice with Kevin and 2 other players last week and this week, penalties, and I was confident that Kevin will convert. I think he stepped up to the task, used all his experience and his skills, and he converted very well for us.
Well, it's just 1 goal in it then between Yeovil and Sheffield United, and nothing to separate Brentford and Swindon. I get the impression nobody would have argued who was going to take the penalty right at the death as far as Brentford were concerned.
No, clearly, I think probably Kevin O'Connor and everybody involved, Mr. Trott, have learnt a lesson, and a harsh one at that from last week. And
there's a lot of relief here, you can see.
Yeah, and I mean the irony's a lot lost, are they? That you know, that's got them back into the game and probably just pushes that, makes them favourites for the return. But I mean, these games aren't won on, invariably they don't tend to be won on the first leg, do they?
No, of course not. You know. Half-time in both of them, as they often say. You can't call it, can you? At this
no. I mean, it's far too close. I mean, these are ultimately, we know that most of these playoff games are very, very tight. So you'd be a fool to think that any of those are really clear favourites in that game, because they're not.
I won't ask you for a prediction then.